In this video, 4 Mandalorian friends dash through the narrow alleyways of Mos Eisley in search of the city square, where their Mandalorian comrade is about to be executed for treason. At each turn of the dash, the Mandalorians are opposed by a constant onslaught of Stormtrooper patrols. Will the Mandalorians make it to the square and free their friend? Or will the Empire's arm of faux justice crush these troublemakers? Find out as we play this scenario of Star Wars Miniatures by Wizards of the Coast. Hello gamers, Matthew here from Grey Army Gaming. For this exciting scenario, we are going to be cruising through these narrow streets and alleyways of Mos Eisley in search of our Mandalorian friend who is about to be executed. Now, what is interesting about this game is that we're going to have some special rules that determine how many Stormtroopers come in the way of our 4 Mandalorians, and also how many alleyways or street sections they need to get through before they get to the eventual place, the square where their friend is being executed. Let's go ahead and explain some of those rules really quickly before we roll off for initiative. The length of our game will be determined by a random roll in relation to the round number. So we don't need to roll for the first round because everything a 1+ will continue us on to the next round. However, let's say we move to round 2. Now we need to roll a random d6 here, and if we get a 2+, we will continue to the next round. If we get a 1, we will then immediately move to the final square. So let's go to roll this off. There's a 3, so we will continue. Let's say we get to the third round now. Everything on a 3+ will be a continuation of the game. Otherwise, we go immediately to the square. Let's roll again. 2. So now we would immediately go to the square. When determining how many Stormtroopers the Mandalorians run across, we will roll a d8 at the beginning of each round. So, for example, 7 total. Once we have rolled for the total number of Stormtroopers that the Mandalorians will meet on each turn, we can now roll for their random placement. So this piece of wood right here represents approximately the battlefield as we have it set up. And what we will do then is pick out a number of markers equal to the number of Stormtroopers, take them out, and just roll them here. That will be their random positions. We can set up our Stormtroopers in these positions and then go ahead and play out that turn. The task for the Mandalorians then is to begin here at the bottom of the board and to make their way through this alleyway under the attack and the fire of the Stormtroopers in the attempt to try to make it to the end of the alleyway on each board, and that will bring us then to the next turn. And finally, if the Mandalorians are able to make their way through these alleyways to the final courtyard, they will then face down a Stormtrooper officer and Sly Moore, who are up on the platform preparing for the execution. In addition, there will be other Stormtroopers around in the area, obviously, so this will be the final battle in order to try to save their friend. For our Mandalorian forces from left to right, we have a Mandalorian captain, we have a Mandalorian gunslinger, a Mandalorian marauder, and a Mandalorian trooper for a total of 69 points. And because of the random D8 rolls, there may be a lot more Stormtroopers out on the battlefield point-wise than our Mandalorians, so this will make the task extra challenging for the Mandalorians to get through these alleyways to find their friend. Round 1, let's roll for the number of Stormtroopers, 1d8, and their placement. Here we go. 7 Stormtroopers! And here's their placement. And here you see now the random placement of our Stormtroopers out on patrol. Let's go ahead now and roll off initiative to begin. The Stormtroopers are having the blue die and the Mandalorians the red. 13-4, the Mandalorians begin. First activation, let's have our gunslinger run over here to this corner and take a shot over onto this Stormtrooper right here. 5+ for the kill. 11. Second activation, Captain's going to run over here to this spot right here, get some cover, and fire off over onto that Stormtrooper. Twin attack on an A+. Here we go. 3, no. 1, first one misses. Second shot. 17. Yes. Activating 2 Stormtroopers. They're going to shoot at that gunslinger. +13 goes up to a 17 because of the cover. No! And no. Activating our Marauder here. We have only melee attacks, so we're just going to cruise up 12 inches. Trooper's going to run up behind his friend over there, the captain, and get some cover. From this position, he's going to fire up the alleyway over here and shoot at this guy way over here at the top of the board. Because of cunning attack, he's hitting on a 4+. Here we go, 4+. 11! Final 2 activations for the Stormtroopers. We're going to run them up and see if they can get some shots off at those guys in cover. First shot, this guy over here onto the captain. He is going to need an 18 because of the cover. Here we go. 16. No, that's a miss. Next, the guy behind the wall here is going to shoot straight over at our gunslinger here. Also because of cover, needing a 17. Here we go. 12. Another miss. End of this round, the Stormtroopers have lost 3 of their guys, and the Mandalorians remain unharmed. Let's go ahead and roll off initiative for this turn. And it'll be 8-2. The Stormtroopers begin. Let's start by charging these 2 guys up in the back, 12 inches, running them up. Mandalorian activation. The Marauder's going to charge in. Hitting on a 7+. 15. In response, let's have these 2 guys hug the wall and fire off on that same guy. 4+ for 10 points of damage each. A 2, it's a miss, no! Second one. 15, okay, 10 points of damage, dropping him down to 30. Charged by the Mandalorians, here we go, Captain. 2+ on the lead guy. Yes! Gunslinger's also going to jump over that box and join the fight. Cunning attack, hitting on a 3+. Yeah, 19, which is also a critical hit. Final activation for the Mandalorians. Hitting on an A+. 19, yes! And with that final kill, the Mandalorians finish off everybody here on this board, and they are able to run out the top, the north end of the alley, and continue their journey. Round 2. On a roll of 1, we go immediately to our final square. On a 2+, we will continue on to our next section of alleyway. Here we go. 5. Okay, we continue on. Rolling off for the number of Stormtrooper patrols. 5. And also their random locations. And here you see our second alleyway. We have our 5 Stormtroopers here. One here up on the top, another one right there in front of him. Down in this section here, we've got 1 here on the left and 2 on the right around this building. The streets are really small here. There's a lot of debris in them. And down here on the end, we have our Mandalorians entering the battlefield. Let's go ahead and roll off for initiative. And it'll be 18-2. The Stormtroopers begin. None of the Stormtroopers realize the Mandalorians have entered this alleyway, so they're going to go ahead and do a normal patrol move. Let's roll off to see who moves. This group here is 1, 2, 3, or 4. 3. And 1 of the guys from the 1. First activation, the captain's going to run up alongside this wall, getting cover, firing off on that guy that just came around the corner. Ah, he's surprised as suddenly 4 Mandalorians are charging down on him. Twin attack, A+, first one, 11, yes! Next off, our gunslinger is going to come right behind the captain for cover. Shooting off from here over onto this guy right over here. Cunning attack, but that Stormtrooper also has cover. Hitting on a 7. 12! Stormtroopers, realizing they're under attack, dive for cover in order to get some shots off. Firing on the captain here, who is sticking out just around the corner. 18 to hit. 7, it's a miss. Next activation, running up for cover. Also firing a shot on the captain. We need an 18 to hit. 14, it's a miss. Mandalorian Marauder is going to charge up 12 inches. Unable to attack because of the charge, but prepared now for the next initiative roll to swipe down that Stormtrooper. Final Mandalorian activation. Let's get some cover back here from these guys and also fire off onto that Stormtrooper on the top. 8+ to hit. And it's a 6. It's a miss. Final Stormtrooper activation way up there on the top. Let's run up behind those crates. Taking a shot off on the Marauder. We'll say because that wall is so low and he's far away, it's no cover. So we're hitting now on a 4+. 10, yes, dropping the Marauder down to 20. End of that turn, and the Stormtroopers have been taken out a little bit. The Marauder also taking some damage. Let's go ahead and roll for initiative now to see who begins this turn. And it'll be a 5-3. The Mandalorians begin. Charging in with the Marauder here, 7+ to kill. 5, it's a miss. Let's throw caution to the wind here. Gunslinger's going to run over here right onto the open. Still cover from the other guys, but he's going to take a shot over onto this Stormtrooper here. 8+ because of cover, though. However, a 12+ twin attack. First attack. 20, natural 20, yes! Stormtrooper activation, last one. Shooting at the Marauder for a 4+. 5, 10 more points of damage, dropping him down to 10. Gunslinger's going to activate, running out here, right out in the open, firing off on this guy with cover. Hitting on a 7. A 7. That's a 14. It was actually an 11 because of cover, but it didn't matter. A 14 is enough. Mandalorian Trooper activating and jumping in the fun. We're going to bring him right over here, and he's going to take a shot off on that Stormtrooper right there. Hitting on an 8+ for the kill. 16! And with that final kill, the Mandalorians continue their way through these narrow alleyways, heading around the corner of this building and into the next section. Round 3. On a 3+, we continue to the next alleyway. Otherwise, on a 1 or a 2, we go immediately to the final square. Here we go. To the final square. In addition to Sly Moore and the Stormtrooper officer, how many other Stormtroopers are we going to have? A total of 5 once again. And how many heavy Stormtroopers will join them? 2. And here comes the Stormtrooper and Heavy Stormtrooper placements. The Stormtroopers in blue and the Heavy Stormtroopers in yellow. And here we see the final scene as we have it set up. Now the Mandalorians are coming in over here on this side, entering the square. And when they come into the square, immediately now you see that there are 2 Stormtroopers here that are guarding this area. Up here, now we have our main focus. We have got Sly Moore there on the left. We've got our officer on the right. And we've got the Mandalorian friend in the center. Now, there is a heavy Stormtrooper here guarding this scene with his heavy weapons. We've got 2 Stormtroopers, 1 on each side. Up here, further up here, we've got 2 more Stormtroopers. 1 is a heavy Stormtrooper on the very top, guarding that entranceway. Here is the scene that we have laid out, and we're going to give the Mandalorians the initiative because they are sneaking into this scene. So let's go ahead and play this out. First activation, let's have our captain run up and get some cover. Twin attack, hitting on an 8+. 18, yes! Next activation, let's get our gunslinger run up to the corner. And he is within 6 inches here of the captain, so he'll get twin attack. Let's have twin attack over here onto this heavy Stormtrooper. With cunning attack, we're hitting on a 3+. 7, yes! Next one, 3+. Yes, a 4! And with cunning attack, that's 40 points of damage, enough to take out that heavy Stormtrooper. Seeing what is going on here, Sly Moore is going to try to dominate this trooper over here. We need a save of an 11 to avoid that, and it's a 7, no. So he takes an immediate turn, and he cannot move for the rest of this turn. Second Empire activation. Let's run over here to this wall, take a shot off over here onto that gunslinger. Hitting on a 13, here we go. And it's a 6. Next activation, the Marauder is going to charge into the playing field. All the rest of the activations go to the Empire. Let's start with moving all these guys, as many as we can, behind this wall in order to shoot at that gunslinger. This Stormtrooper here and this Stormtrooper here are going to be hitting on 13s. 13s to hit. First one, 10. No. Second one, 16. Evade on an 11+. 1, natural 1. No. Officer here in the middle, 9+ for 10 points of damage. And it's a 20, natural 20. We need to evade on 11+. 6. No, he fails. Wow, that was huge. 20 points of damage, dropping our gunslinger down to 20. The remaining 2 activations on the top there, they don't have very good line of sight, so they're just going to sprint their 12 inches in. End of that round, and here's how things look at this point. We have got the Stormtroopers piling around this wall along with the officer. We've got our heavy Stormtrooper coming right along here. Down here on the bottom now, the Mandalorians have just begun to break into the square. They haven't done a whole lot this turn, though, and hopefully they can do a bit more now. Let's go ahead and roll off for initiative. And it'll be 4-2. The Mandalorians begin. First things first, let's have our Mandalorian Marauder charge across here and come into base contact with this guy right here. The Marauder is so close to dying, this could be his last hurrah. 8+ to kill that Stormtrooper. There you have it, folks. A natural 1. Second activation, Gunslinger. From this position, he or she, whatever it is going to shoot over here onto Sly Moore. Hitting on everything except for 1. And it's a 9. 20 points of damage, dropping Sly Moore down to 20. In response, Sly Moore is going to activate now and try to dominate our captain right here. All right, we need to save it of 11+. Here we go, 17. No problem. He is not dominated by you, Sly. Second activation, heavy Stormtrooper taking a shot over here on the gunslinger behind cover. Needing a 15. Here we go. 15. 5. Miss. 2 more activations for the Mandalorians. Captain's going to run down and charge up next to his friend. Scoot over, buddy boy. Twin attack from him here over up onto that heavy Stormtrooper. We need an 8+. First shot. 11. Final activation here. Let's have this guy right here. He has a line of sight on Sly Moore. He's not going to move. He's going to try to use his Deadeye ability for 10 extra damage. That would be enough to kill him if he hit him. Hitting on a 5+. Deadeye. Yeah, 5! Extra damage. 20 points of damage. Taking Sly Moore out of the battlefield. And with that, all the remaining activations are going to the Empire. First activation, turning here, attacking the Marauder. Hitting now on a 2+. At 17, yes, a save of 11. It's possible to get out of this. 20, natural 20, he saves. Same thing, second Stormtrooper is going to try to shoot off on that Marauder as well. And a 6 will be enough to do it. Can we avoid it with 11+? 3, no, the Marauder takes 10 points of damage. That is enough to kill him. Stormtroopers here to the left and the right of the officer are going to fire off onto the gunslinger. First one, 17. Natural 1, no. Second one, 9, no, they both miss. Officer is going to do the same thing, attack the same gunslinger. I should also mention that those Stormtroopers got the commander effect of +3, but it didn't matter. They were such terrible shots. Officer, double attack, hitting on a 9+. First one, 18. Yes, can he avoid it on 11+? Yes, with a 12. Second shot, coming through with an 8. No. So end of this round, things are looking pretty good for the Mandalorians. We've got one guy down here. These 2 guys here, they have lost a Marauder friend, but things are still looking pretty good. Let's roll for initiative for this round. And it'll be 14-7. The Empire will begin. First thing the Empire is going to do is they're just going to charge here into this guy right here. Both of them. $13+ from each of them to connect. First one. 13. Yes, and now the second one. 9, no. Dropping the gunslinger down to 10 hit points. Gunslinger attacking back on a 5+. Double attack, oh, we don't need it. That's enough. The captain, now seeing his friend up there waiting to be executed, gets all excited and is going to charge up here along the wall, stopping right here and firing off at that officer. Twin attack now on a 10+. Here we go. First attack, 12, goes through. Second attack, 11. And with those 2 attacks going through, that's 40 points of damage, enough to take out of commission our officer. Seeing their officer fall down at the hands of this amazing captain, the other 2 stormtroopers are going to freak out and take off. And likewise, this last stormtrooper is also going to flee. He will probably get cut down as he tries to evade that gunslinger, taking off and running off to the distance. With all of the stormtroopers now having fled the square, the remaining Mandalorians go forward and release their friend. This was not a cheap victory. They lost one of their own, but they were able to save their other one and to save him from the injustice at the hands of the Empire. Well, there you have it, folks. This brings us to the conclusion of our skirmish in the alleyways of Mos Eisley. Now, the Mandalorians did really well. They were able to run over most of those stormtroopers. However, they did lose one of their own, and the gunslinger was really hurt, almost to the point of being taken out of the battle. Now, it was really fortunate for them, for the Mandalorians, that we rolled the way we did as far as the number of alleyways, because had they continued on, I think they would have got chipped away even more, making that final battle even more dangerous for them. But fortunately for them, they were able to, on the 3rd turn, come into this center square and to then defeat the stormtroopers in order to save their friend. Well, if you appreciate this kind of content, please do give me a thumbs up, leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel, and we will continue to make more Star Wars Miniatures Battle Reports. And most of all, thank you for joining us here today at Grey Army Gaming for the future of gaming.